Hey guys, God bless you all. So this is a word I got yesterday as I was in the house just getting ready, doing what I was doing. I got the word strain, and normally I don't get words like that, but it was clear, and so I started looking at this word and different things, and it reverted me back to a study I did a while ago called the Black Eye Club. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this video, it's kind of a continuation, so if you haven't seen these videos, you'll want to see them. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of, uh, you're just going to be kind of missing out on some of the other stuff that was shown in those videos. I'm going to put this video in the playlist that contains these so that it's there. What this word is, as I looked at it, what it eventually did is it just kind of confirmed and summed up what I thought originally with these videos. And so I just want to explore different things with this word and show you some of the stuff that I found and go from there. Uh, so obviously it's about these black eyes that everyone is talking about. Well, not everybody, but what a lot of people are talking about, this black eye club. You have all these people getting these black eyes, and what's really going on. This just can't be coincidence. There's several popes now that have had this done. Um, I think one claimed he hit his head on the mobile or inside the little cart and all that. He had a hockey accident or basketball, mountain biking accident. Um, so just different things, and it's just becoming very well. It should be arousing your spirit of just exactly what is going on, with this. I'm sorry, with this garbage. What are these elite doing? What's really happening? Because this isn't a coincidence at this point. It's becoming very prevalent. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at. It's kind of where this goes. And essentially, there's a spiritual infection that these elite are inserting into their host bodies by way of technology. This is kind of my bottom line up front, what I think is going on, and that's kind of what I'm going to talk about today. Take heed and pray over this information. As I discussed in the previous videos over here, our eyes are the window to the soul. I go in great depth using scripture and everything else in those videos. So if you please, again, if you haven't watched them, go there first. Um, common definitions for the word strain. There's several different definitions when you Google, what exactly is a strain. There's all kinds of stuff that comes up. So I just posted a couple things here um, that kind of ring true to this study. We talked about virulence in, I think, video 2, and I go in depth about virulence. And there's a lot of really creepy things, and maybe at the end of this video I'll just brush up on it a little bit. But what I found interesting was it talks about to make something strenuous or great effort, a force and what I'm thinking of is this force is a spiritual force to make a strenuous effort inside the host. Obviously, you have an injury. We see that with the darkened bruise around the eye, of course, uh, by doing something to it. So there's obviously something going on with this word already. What really got me was when I went to Wikipedia and I just looked up strain, and it took me to several different variants down here, strain mechanics, injury, chemistry, and you looked at biology, and the variants of a strain in biology include plants, spirits, and bacteria. So there is a variant strain of spirits is what this is talking about. And this is where I was like, okay, I heard correctly. We need to keep looking into this and see what this word is talking about. So in the previous videos, we covered a word called viril, which we just talked about, and notice virulence is also associated with the word strain. So again, we'll talk about this maybe at the end, the virulence and viril. And this is the infection, obviously, that is inside the host body, all right, what they're doing. Okay. The pathogens or microbes' virulence ability to damage a host, meaning to poison or full of poison. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So Jesus speaks in the parable of Matthew 13. It's generally known as the wheat and tares parable. In this parable, the earth is the field. And I'm paraphrasing here, guys. The earth is the field, and the wheat, which is the intended crop, is grown and thus harvested. The wheat is referred to as the children of God, and as the crop grows, there is a weed that comes up, and it's identical to the wheat, okay? And it grows up next to the wheat, and this plant is called a tare in the Bible, okay? The disciples asked Jesus about this tare. What happened? What is this tare? Did you not sow good seed? All these different things they ask. He responds and says to them that the enemy has put his seed into the field with the wheat. The enemy did this while they slept. The wheat and tares will grow together until a separation occurs, where the tares are gathered and burned, and the wheat is taken to the barn, which is inclusive of heaven. So when you examine what this weed is, you come to find out it's called darnel. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos, but just bear with me for a minute if you know this information. All right, a false wheat that produces no fruit is called a darnel. This is a false wheat. Instead, it poisons the wheat field and it puts it into what they call a drunken state. I also find it interesting that a tare is sometimes confused with a tear, which is synonymous with a strain. Okay, you follow me there? So you have this tear, which is confused with tear, like tearing a tendon or tearing a joint or tearing a muscle, which of course is synonymous with what a strain is. Okay, anyway, so this darnel is a poisonous plant, and it poisons the wheat field. It puts it into a drunken state. So this virulence, which we talked a little bit about, this this microbe, this spiritual inability, this spiritual damaging spirit put into the host causes a poison, okay? And it's infection and it damages the host. Now, if you go to Wikipedia on darnel, it is called this name here, and it's called poison darnel, ryegrass, cockles. Has a global distribution, which is interesting, so it's not just limited to one area. Similarity between these two plants is so great in some regions, darnel is referred to as a false wheat. It bears a close resemblance to wheat until the ear appears. And the French word is avarié, all right, which means intoxicated. Eating the infected plant can be fatal. So what you have is these two groups, these two plants, which are two people representations, growing together. They look exactly alike. You can't hardly tell the difference, which is funny because this plant does not produce a fruit. All right, so one produces a fruit, the other does not, and you can't you can't tell the difference of the two. Okay, and also it's intoxicating to the wheat itself, and it can be fatal. So eating here means consumption, all right? So if you're going to consume or buy or consuming the garbage put out by this false wheat, all right, you're going to become intoxicated and eventually be drunk on the lies and the falsehood. Eventually this plant will turn black and die. The Bible speaks greatly about us being the wheat, being sober-minded, staying awake, watching, not being drunk on the cares of the world, okay? This is a verse here out of Thessalonians. It says, "Therefore let us not sleep as others do, but watch and be sober. For they that sleep in the night, that they are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, for the helmet and hope of salvation." So it's, in other words, they're saying, don't let this wheat affect you. Don't let this thing put you to sleep. Don't let it intoxicate you. So I found this verse, as I was doing my research, I found this verse in Deuteronomy, I think 32, and it says, "They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation." So the Lord's speaking about these people have corrupted themselves, and their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. These are the terrors, which is what he's talking about. And if you look at the words here, we'll look at word corrupted, means cast off or corrupt, destroy, all right? Wasters, spoilers, to destroy. This goes to this word Nepal. I'm not sure if that goes to Nephal, which means Nephilim. It could be. I didn't see a connection there, but it sounds like it at least. Decay, ruin, to be corrupted. And if you go to this word over here, spot, interesting enough, it comes back to stain or a blemish, which could be something like a blackened eye, which reminded me of this dog called Spot. Every time you get a dog, or not every time, but a lot of people who have dogs with this type of mark, they call them Spot. So it just kind of struck me as odd. I don't believe in coincidences, but I thought that was pretty interesting. So their blemish or their spot, their stain, either physically or morally, it states, physical defect is not the spot of his children. In other words, it's not the mark of his kids. All right, they are a perverse and crooked generation, and you can research perverse and crooked generation in the Bible and find all kinds of stuff. All right. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. So that takes me to the movie, The Strain, and obviously has this worm-like, um, parasite going through this eye on one cover. Interesting enough, I found this one pretty easily too when I searched for the movie The Strain. Obviously, it looks like fallen angels being cast out in some sort of wormhole type of thing. So anyway, this was from a comic book on The Strain, which I guess was the original storyline. The Strain is a slightly different take on vampires than what we've seen lately. These vampires aren't pretty and they don't sparkle in light. These vampires are ugly, vile, killing machines that operate on a hive mind connection to their master. In Revelation, it says that they will have a hive mind, a one-track mind with their Apollyon, all right, their king. The Stain is a horror thriller that tells the story of Dr. Ephraim Goodweather. Some people might find this interesting. That's a tribal name in the Bible, Dr. Ephraim. You have Ephraim and Manasseh. Ephraim is, well, I've done videos on it, so you can check it out. Ephraim is the head of the Center of Disease Control. Canary team in New York. He and his team are called upon to investigate a mysterious viral outbreak with hallmarks of an ancient evil strain of vampirism. As the strain spreads, Ephraim and his team, an assembly of everyday New Yorkers, wage war for the fate of humanity itself. And of course, Barack Obama. We all have a little reptilian in us. Which of course you have the snake here, which could be something similar to this being put in into this eye, which of course is the pineal gland right here, the third eye. So just a short video. I'm going to conclude with this. Before I conclude, let me show you a couple different things that I did come across that I thought were interesting anyway. And let's see here. So this is the phoenixenigma.com, and they have kind of a little article, some videos, some pictures, different things here that you can look at. All these people and how they got a black eye, what happened. Both popes, I find that so funny. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, this guy, whatever. But anyway, and he says some interesting things. So I'm going to just kind of go through here real quick. And it talks about this soul scalping, okay? It was coined by Sherry Shriner. Now, you can Google her and read her stuff. Let me tell you my story with Sherry Shriner is when I first saw her stuff, I was like, no way. No way is this true. No way, not happening, not true. As time goes on, this has become very, very true from what I've seen. A lot of different things that she's put out. Not everything, but a lot of different things. And some things, are very, very controversial that she says. I'll leave it at that. Although the idea has been around since the 1940s and portrayed in sci-fi classics such as The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the famous miniseries of the 1980s, V also ran with this theme. Probably the most recent accurate depiction of this theory, however, can be seen in the Stargate series. In this series, the Gulad are a parasite race of ancient astronauts which integrate with their host. The resulting creature is a powerful race on a galactic conquest and domination, largely without pity and compassion or remorse. This is exactly what the Viril is. If you look up Viril, let me pause and we'll do that. Exactly what Viril is, okay? The coming race, all right? It's based upon this novel by this guy, published anonymously, 1871, Viril, the Coming Power Race. Supernatural, subterranean, master race, and energy from, or form, called Viril. I know it's hard to see. Let me kind of blow this up here a little bit if I can. I'm sorry here. There we go. Okay. What the novel talks about here, the narrator finds his way into subterranean world occupied beings who seem to resemble angels. What did we just show you a picture of? Fallen angels, the strain. He befriends the first being he meets who guides him around the city that is reminiscent of ancient Egyptian architecture. And guys, we just talked about this. Ancient Egyptian architecture and the fallen beings. Okay? Let's see here. Not as organized, guys. I'm sorry. So anyway, that's exactly what it says here. The resulting creature is a powerful race, bent on a galactic conquest and domination, largely without pity, compassion, or remorse. Just like the verse says, okay? They've given themselves they've corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They're a crooked and perverse generation. Okay. Okay, from Sherry Shiner, he quotes here. She believes that the heads of state and Hollywood and elites are abducted and surgery is performed on their eye. This is a segment from her website. I will leave a link to this below to her website. They take a slimy, skinny snake, 6 to 8 inches long, grayish in color, looks more like a long, slimy worm, open the person's mouth, stick it down their throat. The reptile aliens work in groups, and it kind of goes on from here. All right, they are cold and heartless, unemotional reptiles with no thought of love, compassion, or human. They are terrors. All right, they look like us, act like us. They're not like us. They are not us. Those are the emotions they have. They learn to fake what's being done in a human body so they can blend in with society as a human. Again, very outlandish stuff. It's up to you to, and you can go to her website, sherryshiner.com. It's up to you to discern, okay? But I will say this, there is something definitely going on, okay? And he goes on, he's like, wow, that's some pretty heavy stuff. Not sure exactly what to think, but the proof is there, okay? The proof is there. Let me just say that she gets into kind of the how this happens, okay? So they take this tiny, I don't know if this is how it happens. I have not been shown any of this, okay? I do think that they are undergoing some sort of procedure to have this done, and it is so that they can be inhabited. To me, that makes sense. In the Bible, scripturally, that makes sense. So let me conclude here and see what you think. All right, so I'm going to conclude with this. I know I was given that word strain. Strain, spot, tear, and tear are all connected. Nothing is coincidence. Part of our walk is to find the spiritual significance in all our experiences. God speaks to us this way. It is one of the many, many ways that he does speak to us. All these politicians, movie stars, religious heads are getting their eyes black for some reason. And it's not because of their edgy lifestyle or things that they've done or playing football or whatever. It's too coincidental. You have to agree with that. You have to. There's just no other way. You can't tell me both popes in a row have both blackened their left eyes. That's just not, it does not make sense, okay? We know by now, I hope, that these people are not what they portray. We should know this by now, that these people are not exactly what they portray to be, okay? With the pedophilia, the blood sacrifices, the false flags, the transhumanism, the transgenderism, the laws that support all these different things, the spirit cooking, the cannibalism that these people support. I pray that you take this seriously and search this thing out. When the calamities occur, okay, when these calamities occur, and they're going to occur, when they start to happen, you're going to see these same elite people, the same Hollywood, the same politicians, the same people that have lied to you time and time again come out, and they will be as welcome mats for FEMA, for the fallen angels, or whatever diabolical traps that may be happening to ensnare the people. All right, either they're going to kill them, or you're gonna have to be in forced enslavement with the mark of the beast. Bottom line, people be running to them for help. All right, we have idolized them for so long, and we see them as our heroes. They will make the perfect bait for death. Don't believe me? How many kids grow up, dress up as the Avengers? How many Avengers toys are in your house? How many teenage girls worship the Kardashians or any of those bands or Lady Gaga or any of that garbage? Many of them do. And they will look to them for help. And they are going to be the perfect welcome mats for those different things. These black guys are the black guys these and many others have received will long be forgotten when food, water, and shelter become a necessity. So these things that I'm talking about are going to go probably out the window, and people will run to these people for help. Okay, especially when these things become a necessity. And you have one of these movie stars on TV saying, hey, come down, we have things ready for you, we have food, we have shelter, we have clothing, we have water, all these things for you when you come here. For me, the scriptures are crystal clear on the matter, and I pray that I've done the job in making them clear to you. My command was share what you learn. How do they do this? I don't exactly know. Sherry Shiner has one theory, okay? But I do know that technology is the conduit that the enemy will and he has been using. Pray on this information. The Lord God, through his Son and Holy Spirit, is the only one that can properly educate his people into these things. But there is something going on with those eyes. And you need to be vigilant, and you need to question, and you need to wonder. And you need to say that this is not natural. This doesn't just happen. God bless you all.